Heckle, that's a bad pass.
Luka's having some fun this summer. Hey, coming up here on NBA Today, ESPN's new power rankings. They were just released. Wait until you see who's ahead of Luka and the Lakers. And tonight, it's the first rematch of the W Finals. Here are exclusive interviews with Nafisa and Sabrina ahead of what is sure to be one of the best games of the season. Also, Shams is standing by with the very latest out of Golden State. Why hasn't Jonathan Kuminga signed a deal yet? We have all the details. NBA Today starts right now. And that is the developing story that we're going to start our show with. Forward Jonathan Kuminga, he headlines a group of restricted free agents. As reported by Shams, the Warriors have been in contact with several teams, but have not received an offer to their liking on a sign-in trade here for the fifth-year swingman. And this is all very important because the Golden State Warriors, look at this, they're the only team this offseason that is yet to make a single move, a single acquisition for a player with NBA experience. So for the latest on Kuminga, we're joined by the duo who broke the news this morning. Of course, our senior insider, Shams Charania, is here. And for the very first time, we say hello to our new Warriors reporter, Anthony Slater. Anthony, welcome. We're really excited to have you here.
Yeah, I'm pumped up.
We're pumped up, and we kind of wish that we were maybe doing this over a drink in your backyard right now. But we're really excited to have you. Shams, I'm going to start with you. What is the latest with Kuminga and his contract negotiations here with Golden State?
Malika, this is turning into a battle of control over the short and long-term future of Jonathan Kuminga as a Warrior or otherwise. I'm told the Warriors presented Jonathan Kuminga with a 2-year, $45 million offer that contained a team option in the second season, as well as him forfeiting a built-in no-trade clause as part of the deal. So far, Jonathan Kuminga has declined all of the Warriors' offers. He has said no, and the theme for the Warriors right now is Jonathan Kuminga appears to want to control his destiny moving forward with two routes here. One being the qualifying offer that we see right there. He's saying he could bet on himself all day. That has an October 1 deadline, 1 year, $7.9 million. And if his mindset is about continuing to get power over his future and controlling his future, that would allow him to have a no trade clause next season. It would also give him access to unrestricted free agency in the summer of 2026. The other route for Jonathan Kuminga is sign and trades. The Phoenix Suns and Sacramento Kings have both had interest in him, have given him offers up to about 4 years, $90 million, have given him a player option as well, have also promised him a starting role, guaranteed minutes, and control over his future with that player option. But clearly, the Warriors, as of right now, have shunned all sign and trade offers. So right now, what we see is a stalemate between both sides, is both sides at a crossroads for a player that clearly believes that he has not been given the full amount of opportunity in Golden State. Clearly, he has a high level of self-belief right now.
Yeah, I mean, that we saw that in that social media post. There's a lot of options here, is what I'm hearing, that's on the table for Jonathan Kuminga. So, Anthony, you've been around this team throughout Kuminga's entire tenure, his entire time with this roster. Do the Warriors, because I hear confidence coming from Kuminga, do the Warriors feel confident that they will eventually reach a deal here?
Yeah, for sure. They've been pretty firm in the last few days saying, there's a reason why it's called restricted free agency and not unrestricted free agency. They kind of, hold the leverage on his future, and their preferred path clearly is the offer they put on the table. It's short term, it's tradable. That's how they've pitched it to Kuminga even, because it's something they could maybe trade in January at full value. But they say regardless, their stance is that as of right now, they're shutting down sign and trade talks. They found nothing appealing there. And they believe he's going to be on the roster. Their stance is he will be on the roster to start next season, and if that's the qualifying offer, that's what it is. The concern there, the flip side of that, is the messiness of this. It's already, as you all can attest, has become kind of a messy restricted free agency. Yeah. How about when this gets to training camp? How about when the veterans are around, looking around, saying, is this going to be a distraction in one of Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green's final contention seasons? I think that's where there's a potential, pivot point, breaking point in this. But as of now, as Shams mentioned, it's a stalemate, and it continues to be messy.
But right now, the Warriors are saying they're shutting down those sign-in trades talks. So if they are looking to re-engage for the Warriors here at some point, Shams, what would a potential sign-in trade eventually look like? Because they're saying right now they expect him to be on the roster.
Malik, the Warriors have been defiant. They want a good player. They also want an unprotected first-round pick, a good first-round pick. The Sacramento Kings, I'm told, have actually offered a first-round pick in those conversations. There's been a conditional first-round pick as well as a potential rotation player as well. But the Warriors have wanted the Sacramento Kings to give them an unprotected, fully first-round pick. The Suns, on the other hand, do not have a first-round pick to trade, so their deal would likely look at 1 or 2 rotation players and second-round draft compensation. The Warriors, though, do not want bad salary in return. They don't want players that they feel don't have the value moving forward that Jonathan Kuminga could have. So clearly, their asking price has not been met in these potential offers. There's still about a month and a half, 2 months left before Jonathan Kuminga has a real decision to make with that October 1 qualifying offer.
Okay, so it sounds like there is a whole lot still on the table that Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors need to come to an agreement on. Fellows, thank you so much. We'll continue to monitor the situation. And Slater, we really, really are very lucky and excited to have you here at ESPN, you and your enormous podcast mic. All right, let's take a look at this. Over the last 2 seasons, Jonathan Kuminga averaged just over 17 points on 51% shooting in 56 starts. Those numbers did fall to 14.6 points a game on 48% shooting in the 65 games Kuminga came off of the bench here. We have seen it in spurts. When Steph Curry was out in the playoffs last year, Kuminga rose to the occasion. This has been a constant tug of war between this player and this franchise. So Kendrick Perkins, I wonder, to Slater's point, how much this might impact Golden State. Having this really talented player, his contract hanging over a team that has a core of Steph, of Draymond, of Jimmy, that have all said this is the last hurrah, and by the way, are all over 35 years old. What do you think?
It's a bad look. It's a bad look on the Warriors, in my opinion, Malika. One, because, you know, I get it with the information that Jonathan Kuminga is saying he's going to bet on himself, but it's hard to walk into a locker room and bet on yourself when a coach has shown you time and time again that at any given time he could pull you out of the rotation. That's number one. Number two, why not let this man go be great, and why are you holding him hostage and from going to another team and assigning a trade if it's the Phoenix Suns or the Sacramento Kings that have up to $90 million on them? Yes, you want great value back for him, but while he's in your organization, you're not valuing him as if he's that type of player. And I'm looking at a Jonathan Kuminga who I believe his ceiling is very, very high. His peers feel the same way. And I just don't understand what a guy that you drafted with the number 7 pick that's been showing you signs and that's been developing. He never comes in the training camp out of shape. We never question how hard working he is. He's gotten better every single season. What is the deal?
Well, the one thing that's really interesting, the Warriors are getting only offers from Pacific Division foes. They have not done a trade with the Kings since 1991. I believe that was a Mitch Richmond-Billy Owens trade, if I'm not mistaken. They haven't done anything with the Suns since 2013. So it may not be that attractive for the Warriors to send this guy to a Pacific Division foe.
Right.
And if you look at what the Kings are offering, they're offering Malik Monk and they're offering a protective first. The Carter thing, I don't think that's going to happen, Devin Carter, because he doesn't make enough money. So in order to get the money that you want for Kuminga, you have to do Malik Monk, who averaged 17,
right,
5 rebounds, 3 assists.
But are we losing the plot here a little bit? I think what Perk mentioned about the lack of faith that it seems repeatedly that the Golden State Warriors have had in Kuminga. And Steve Kerr
wants to go.
He wants to go.
He wants to go. And the Kings are offering a starting spot.
Okay.
Power forward next to Keegan Murray, next to Sabonis. He's talked on a Zoom call with Scott Perry, as you know, the GM, B.J. Armstrong, the assistant GM, and also with their head coach.
Okay.
So he's in.
Right.
He wants to go there, but I think that first, the Warriors don't like the first. And then the Suns, I heard they're like offering Royce O'Neal in 4 seconds and Nick Richards. That's just not pretty enough.
You are around this team as much as anybody, and you know how deeply sourced Anthony Slater is around Golden State, one of the very, very best. He's saying that the talks right now, they have stalled. And so realistically right now, right, we are looking at a team that has 9 players, right? 9 players on their active roster.
Well, and I saw Gary Payton II 2 days ago.
Yep.
I'm like, what's going on? waiting on JK.
Right.
He is. Al Horford is.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
Right. And so, Perk, when you look at realistically what we can expect from this Golden State Warriors team that we've often talked about as sort of the beacon of light when you're looking towards what you want to be in terms of a consistent core, running things back. The last couple of years, it really hasn't been that. What can you expect from Golden State this year, knowing that this is who they're putting out there to try to maximize the last years of Steph?
Well, the way that this is trending, I'm not expecting greatness, right? They traded for Jimmy Butler at the trade deadline to come in and give Steph Curry life. He did that. Now you want to go into training camp not only healthy, but having those guys be able to get the reps on the floor, but you want to go into training camp with no distractions.
Right.
You want to go into training camp with the hopes of building team chemistry. Think about the Warriors and where they've been over the last 2 to 3 years, right? It's been the Klay Thompson drama, the beef with the organization. Can Steph finally come into the season without drama, where it's solely focused on basketball in that locker room? If they don't address this Jonathan Kuminga situation, then again, they're going to be entering another season with one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball with not that much time left, with drama, instead of focusing on basketball and hitting the ground running.
And I think the Warriors have proven over the last couple of years that it's been really, the two timeline thing has been really hard for them to master. They haven't quite found a way to bring along young talent in a way that is fair and also reflective of the victors go the spoils. In this case, the spoils were extensions to SGA, to Jalen Williams, to Chet Holmgren, all this offseason. And spoiler, that kind of long-term stability, it's also what lands Oklahoma City in the #1 spot in ESPN's off-season rankings that dropped today on ESPN.com. But let's just take a look at the rest of those rankings that were all released today here. So the back half of the rankings, it's filled with sort of perennial lottery teams here with two exceptions. You see the Celtics, and then you see the Indiana Pacers. Remember the Achilles injuries, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, both franchises, they traded away talent that was essential to their recent successes. But one team's cast-offs is another team's treasure. So the Milwaukee Bucks, they come in at 14 after they signed Miles Turner, while the Hawks, they find themselves coming in at 12 with the additions of Kristaps Porzingis and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So that gets us to the top 10. It is fueled by this season's off-season moves. The Magic, they jumped up to 8th, trading for Desmond Bane. The Clippers, they come in at 7. Bradley Beal, John Collins, Chris Paul. The Rockets, they have the #2 spot after signing Kevin Durant. So let's welcome in our senior writer, Tim Bontemps, who contributed to these rankings on ESPN.com. Tim, when you look at your biggest takeaway from the top 10, what would that be?
To me, Malik, it's Houston, as you just mentioned, being in that second spot, and to a lesser degree, the Denver Nuggets being third. You look at the top 3 spots, all being dominated by Western Conference teams. It goes back to those Achilles injuries you mentioned before with Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton. The league, even more than ever, is tilted toward the Western Conference. And after that Kevin Durant trade back in June, Durant going to the Rockets in exchange for Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, what became the 10th pick in the draft, Kaman Malawak from Duke. That addition of Kevin Durant to the Rockets, a team that, as we saw in the Warriors series, is an exceptional defensive team, but struggled at times to score, and particularly Jalen Green struggled at times to be their lead perimeter scorer. To put Kevin Durant in, a guy who, even at this stage of his career, is a 50, 40, 90 guy in the high 20s per game, he is exactly the kind of piece they needed, and we could very easily be seeing a Houston-Oklahoma City Western Conference Finals, which, Malika, I know you and I would both be very excited to see Kevin Durant back in Oklahoma City with a chance to go back to the NBA Finals.
Can you imagine that atmosphere?
Oh, it's bad.
It would be awesome.
It's bad. I've seen it. It's
It
not
would be
good.
awesome.
Bring out the cupcakes. It's not. Perk knows it's not. It's bad. Yeah. Okay. But anyways, good list. I don't understand why Denver is not #2. With Houston, I show and prove. Kevin Durant is amazing, one of the greatest players of all time, but it's going to take some time for them to gel, figure it out. They lost in the first round. They got to earn it. I'm not going to give them their flowers this quick. Denver, I know what they are, and that trade they made, the additions they've made, exceptional. I like Denver this is a team that pushed the champs to 7 games.
I like them too.
I like them as #2. Also, how are the Knicks not higher? Why are they not above Cleveland? Like, the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals. They added 2 shooters. They got a solid, great coach. I would have flipped those two. I mean, Cleveland, they lost. They didn't make it to these finals 2 years in a row.
All right.
I like the Knicks ahead of them.
I don't think anyone's going to argue. I think that's maybe a little bit of dealer's choice. I don't know if anyone's going to argue with you on flip-flopping those two. It's a matter of decimal points that we're talking about that separate.
Tim got that look, though. Tim got that look.
Tim has put a lot of work into this list. I did, before you respond to that point, Tim, I'm hoping that we can hit on the Lakers being number 10 here, Perk. Not because they shouldn't be 10th, but I am curious. We spent the beginning of our show talking about the lack of moves from the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are ahead of them, and then the Orlando Magic and Los Angeles Clippers all ahead of the Lakers, Perk.
So 3 things.
Okay,
Number 1, Tim and everybody else who made this list need to be fined. Number 2, or they need vacation time because this list is horrible. This list is horrible, and the reason being is because you have the Lakers at number 10. That is beyond disrespectful. The Lakers are the best team in California right now. The Clippers, they're old. That's a nursing home. They have too many concerns, especially when it comes down to the health of Kawhi Leonard, who's their best player. When you talk about the Orlando Magic, like, are we serious right now? Are they better than the Lakers? Absolutely not. And then we go to the Warriors. We just did a whole segment about how the Warriors did absolutely nothing, about how Al Horford, Gary Payton II are waiting on the Jonathan Kuminga drama with the Warriors to get resolved. And so when you think about the Lakers getting a young athletic big and addressing the center position and getting a DeAndre Ayton, you look at them addressing the perimeter and getting a Marcus Smart, a primary defender, a point of attack defender, and then Luka is in shape. LeBron James is happy. He's been posting. He's ready for the season. He's working out. And you mean to tell me that they're number 10 on this list behind the Clippers, Magic, and Warriors? Oh, hell no.
The producers are in my ear saying we need to move on to the next topic. But, Tim, I can't let Perk call for your vacation time and not give you 20 seconds to respond here.
I'll be very quick. We are in late July, and we just got a very impassioned speech from Perk about why these rankings are wrong. That's exactly why we did the rankings. I think I should get a pat on the back and not a fine. That's what I would say.
I also think that potentially in a couple of days or even maybe a week, we could be revisiting these rankings. These are only the first off-season rankings because there is a major deal that the Lakers could strike as early as this weekend. All right, let's move through a couple more topics around the league while we have you, Tim. We'll move off your list. It's the latest edition of Chop It or Drop It. It's been a while. You all know how this goes. I'm going to give you a topic. We're going to choose whether we chop it up or we drop it and move on, starting with LeBron James and Mav Carter on a yacht. That's meh. But then you see LeBron, Maverick, and Nikola Jokic's agent on a yacht with the caption, and then maybe folks are going to get a little excited. Perk, chop it or drop it. Are we seeing some business dealings here for the future?
Off the court, if that was LeBron James, Rich Paul, and Nikola's agent, instead of Mav Carter, I would say chop it, but we go drop it. Because
with
this
all
has probably
respect to
nothing
Mav.
to do with the game of basketball.
All right, well, they were just, wiggling their toes on a yacht. Staying in Europe, the NBA announced today that 2 regular season games, they're going to be played this year across the pond. The Magic and the Grizzlies will face off. It's the Bane Bowl, if you will. They'll play in Berlin, and then they will play in London. Tim, I feel like we should have seen it already. We should have seen it healthier, and yet, nonetheless, here we are. We're not going to let anything rain on our parade here, Coach. I want to start with talking about the Liberty side of all of this. Obviously, no Stewie in this one. Coming off a letdown game, how can Jonquel Jones be a little bit more effective than we saw against the Wings?
Well, I think that she has to do better than what she did against the Wings because she floated around in the perimeter. Jonquel Jones, she is 6'6". Now, where's the weakness for the Lynx? I think it's interior defense. And with Jonquel Jones, if she establishes herself inside, what does that do? That makes the defense have to collapse on her, and then New York can do what they do well. We talked about they make 10 threes a game. Well, those threes aren't open if you don't have to worry about what's in the paint. The other thing that Jonquel has to do is she has to get on the glass. Her rebounding is down in their losses. She gets almost 10 rebounds a game in the wins. She's got to dominate in the paint.
When you're looking at what you're going to be watching most closely in this one, I know that Fee's saying there's been changes, roster, all this different stuff, but it's still a finals rematch. What should we be taking away from this?
Well, there are a couple things. I think Natasha Cloud has to do a good job getting into the paint as well, because this is a Minnesota Lynx team. They send a help side defender on 78% of drives. So if Natasha Cloud can get into the paint, help side defender comes. Now we've got those kickouts for those three-pointers. For me, talking about the Lynx side, it's Napheesa Collier. Napheesa Collier has smoke for the New York Liberty. She's got smoke for the entire league, and she is a matchup nightmare. Watch this. This is a mismatch. This is in the finals last season. Betnijah Laney is like, Jonquel, switch. I got a mismatch. And it doesn't matter. Even over the outstretched hands of Jonquel Jones, who is 6'6", you see the footwork when Napheesa Collier's eyes find the rim. She's got that high release. It is so tough to stop. That was a game winner in game one on the road. Then same thing here. Napheesa Collier, last year, 3rd in the league in post-ups with her back to the basket. This year, 4th in the league in post-ups. That's where she likes to operate. Here, gets the ball 4 on the outside of the perimeter, so Fee can cook on the inside. 1 foot, fade away, high release. It is so tough to guard. With Breanna Stewart not playing in this game, I'm very interested. Jonquel Jones will probably have the matchup, but it doesn't matter who has the matchup with Fee. She has been unstoppable, but it's going to be even harder without Breanna Stewart on the floor to slow down Fee.
I want to go back to, you said Natasha Cloud was key for New York, getting in the paint. Well, for Minnesota, I think it's key for Courtney Williams to get in the paint for Minnesota. Now, Courtney Williams is the point guard now for the Lynx, and she has got to get to her spots. Where is that? That mid-range, that elbow area. Yes, she has the ability to shoot the three, but she has got to be aggressive in transition. I don't know if there's another player that is faster with the basketball to keep the pressure on the defense in transition. And when the defense has to worry about Courtney Williams, then, Fee has room to work.
Right, because Cheryl Reeve has said that this team oftentimes goes as much as Fee is the engine. Courtney Williams, this team also goes as she goes. So she needs to be
in her Birkin right now.
In her Birkin right now. Before we let you ladies go, today is a big anniversary for the W. Did you guys know this? On this date, Lisa Leslie threw down the first ever dunk in the W. So we just thought we'd show some highlights, because who doesn't love to see this? 2002, the Sparks.
With ease.
Wow.
Yep. Transition, 1 dribble.
Boom.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
Well, I think that this shows she was the first, but there are several women in the league right now that can dunk. They haven't yet, but they've got that in their bag.
I mean, Dominique Malonga.
We've only, in 28 years of the W, seen 3 teams that were able to win back-to-back titles. Knowing all of that, how do you stay grounded in the process and not the pressure?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge part of probably why it hasn't happened more. Like, it's a lot of pressure to try and repeat, and the second one's always harder than the first because everyone's coming to get you every single night, and what you did last year to win is not good enough to win this year. And I think that's something that we understand, is we have to be better.
67-62 in a classic overtime Game 5 win.
What's fueling your game this season?
Last season, just the way that it ended, like, we want that championship so badly. And so with that, you have to come back better. What we did last year wasn't good enough, so we knew that we had to work really hard in this offseason, and that's what I try to do.
I love that you mentioned last year, because you do have a couple more matchups coming up with the Liberty in the regular season. Based on what you learned about your team and their team last year, how do you think you match up now?
I think we match up great. We have always matched up really well, which is why it was such a fun series.
The play that may live forever in WNBA history.
2 really great basketball teams going against each other. It's going to feel like playoffs. We play them like 3 times in a row. So it's going to be some really great basketball again. And it's really just whoever is best that night, because you have so many great players, such a great team overall in both teams. And so you have to see who shows out for that night.
Let's talk about your season. Red hot start for the Liberty. By the team standards, you could say maybe struggling a bit. Where in particular do you think you guys need to improve?
I'd say being a little bit more consistent, and obviously I think it will help having JJ back. There's just been things changing every single game, players going in and out, and sometimes that kind of leads to some complacency. And so really looking forward to us being able to get back to it and make a great playoff push.
I know that you've said that the losses are the thing that really stay with you. When you think about last year, how are you using that as fuel and not necessarily as pressure?
I don't think we have any pressure. We didn't win. The pressure's on the winners. It's something that was like so close in your grasp, and of course we made it to the final game of the finals. We want to be on the other side where we're winning. And what we did last year wasn't enough, so you have to come back a little bit better this year. Stay in the gym a little bit longer, work a little bit harder, in practice, or go for that loose ball. It pushes you a little bit more.
Ooh, I can't wait with the Liberty and Lynx squaring off tonight. Let's take a look at some notable finals rematches which took place in the regular season. On February 2nd of 1997, a rematch between the 96 Bulls and the Supersonics, Michael Jordan dropped 45 points against Seattle, accounting for nearly half of Chicago's points. They won it 91-84. And then on January 30th, 2011, the Celtics and the Lakers, a rematch of the 2010 finals. Kobe Bryant, 41 points. But Paul Pierce, he scored 32 of his own. The Celtics, they beat the Lakers 109-96. And then let's go here to December 25th, 2016. The Warriors and the Cavaliers, a rematch of the 2016 finals. Our very own Richard Jefferson, the Ball of Famer, sparked a 14-point fourth quarter comeback with Kyrie Irving stealing it in a game winner over Klay Thompson to get that win. And then let's go back to the W here. July 6th, 2017, the Sparks and the Lynx, a rematch of the 2016 finals. Sylvia Fowles dominated. She had a double-double in this one. The Lynx, they avenged their 2016 finals loss 88-77. And then June 15th, 2024, it was a rematch of the 2023 W finals. The Liberty, the Aces, Jonquel Jones, who would win finals MVP later that season, 34 points, 8 rebounds. The Liberty went on to win this one 90-82. So ahead of tonight's game, I'd like to welcome in our gambling guru here, the host of ESPN Bet Live, Tyler Fulgham. Tyler, it is always good to see you, especially when you are in such bright stripes. You look very ready for summer and ready to get us set for this game. So, Tyler, what is your best bet when you're looking ahead to this matchup?
I like the spot for the Lynx. Let's start with the fact that they're the best team in the WNBA, led by the MVP favorite in Nafisa Collier. On the other side, though, the Liberty are dealing with no Breanna Stewart, perhaps their best player. The fact that they've really struggled on the road this season. They're 2-8 ATS away from home. And in the underdog role, they haven't covered a single game this year. They're 0-for-3 in the underdog role. In fact, because of Stewart's absence, this spread with the Lynx laying 7.5 is the largest underdog roll the Liberty have seen in 3 years. So this is uncharted territory for them in this iteration of their team. I think they're really in a rough spot of their schedule right now, so I'll lean on the Lynx and their domination. I think they win this game, Malika, and cover by the 7.5.
And they're really motivated coming into this one as well, right? They want to avenge last year's finals result. I know you have your eye on all things W, though, Tyler, so looking ahead to the rest of the season, what's your best bet there?
Yeah, at ESPN Bet, you can guess over/under win totals. These are adjusted for where these teams are currently stand in the standings. And I think the Liberty under 30.5 wins is, again, another wager that I like. Remember, now we play 44 games in the regular season, not just the 40, so remember that. So there's 4 extra games. However, this team would need to win, I believe, 14 of their next 19 games to get over 30.5, which they certainly can do. But again, Breanna Stewart's not healthy right now. Right. When is she coming back? Is she going to miss one game? Is she going to miss multiple games? So because of that uncertainty and the fact that they will probably still be the top team in their eastern side of the bracket, I think they get to about 28 to 30 wins and come in just under 30.5.
When Tyler says it, you know that it is good advice, my friend. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to preview this game with us. Hey, coming up here on